Hello there, Ragnar. I'm going to do a VOD review for you, and we're going to be looking at your Ana in Zen play. You say that you are in silver. Let's see how this goes on Rialto. I love Rialto. It's one of my favorite maps. All right. So I can say that on this map as Ana, I don't mind this. You can start up here and be shooting a couple of people up here. Like behind these pillars, you got a little bit of natural cover. You want to be really careful though. As soon as you see, like, I'd be very far over here and take your peaks in like phases, right? The thing that's gonna kill you instantly is if a Widowmaker walks out here, looks, and just clicks you in the head, right? And so you don't want to stand too far in the open. All right, let's look at this one more time. If you're playing Ana here, right? I'd either say stand like really close to this edge right here, like right on this edge and use the cover here, or stay right on this edge here, like right there, like this. Okay. Um, do not stand in like this area. I wouldn't rely on these pillars. Do not rely on those to cover you, because if they have a Widowmaker and you're just gonna hide behind, let's say, this pillar, then you're kind of pinned to that position and you can't move left or right, or else she'll kill you, right? And so stick here in the beginning, use this natural cover, and let's take one more quick look at that position, right? So you see how here you are safe from that Widowmaker. If you know she's not there, like you can take like a quick peek and then right back out, and you know whether she's there or not. And then you can see like flankers. You can come over here and you can see like your tank down here, and then you can also heal allies who are standing up here. Like if you have your Widowmaker sitting in this position and looking at shots this way, if you have a tank sitting up here, then you can walk this way a little bit and heal the tank. Now this is all assuming they don't have a Widowmaker over there, right? Or you can rotate out, right? You can break this thing and just walk straight off and play in the garden. Garden's really awesome. You can play back of garden in this position behind this little pillar here. And what's nice about this little position here is that you have sights over this flank, well, they don't call this a flank. This is main, this flank, and this flank, right? You're pretty well covered, and you can kind of see all of them. And it would take some resources for anyone to get to you from like this position right here, and you can still like survey the space that you own. That's like a thing. All right, but I digress. Let's see kind of what you do.
5, 4, 3, 2.
Oh, yeah. We love to see it. Great, cool, awesome, excellent, excellent play coming from our Lucio. All right, and so you're falling into this sort of trap sitting right here. I don't like it a lot. It's not terrible, but the problem with this position is that it's kind of you're asking to get caught with your pants down, okay? Because anyone who comes into this lane here has now able to see you from behind, okay? And there's not many places you can run in that situation. You can't run this way because they'll still see you. Like their sights on you is like very wide. You can't go that way. So you're probably forced to go into the building. And if you go into the building, then you're being pressured into like this lane of damage. And so you're kind of in a catch-22 in this position. Yes, it lets you see through this little crack and maybe get some nice stuff going on here. But what you want is, if you're going to play this position, make sure a teammate is marking, that is to say, looking at and guarding this lane right here. All right. Make sure this is covered by somebody else so that you're not going to get caught with your pants down. That's kind of like what I'm saying, basically. Another thing that ends up happening on this map is someone will flank around this way and play this mega. Well, this will be like a deep flanker. This would be like a tracer, for example. Will play this mega here, and then they're in your back line. They have all this cover on you, and they can like sneak up on you this way. They can go up the stairs and find a high ground position over here. So just be mindful that the game isn't just played on main. Now I know you are in silver, so mostly the game will just be played on main. But there's just like all these other lanes available on this map, and like you can go in here, you can go like main is just one way. You can even take Pharah over these buildings, like just it's just one way. And I just do not like this position. When I play this position, it's rough because I have to constantly like turn around and like check this and then come back to here. I just play further back. In fact, if you're insistent on playing this position, why not play behind or just play right here behind this sort of thing? Because then you can like peek this way and look this way at the same time. You see how you can like survey the battlefield just a little bit better from here. When you're going to be on Zenyatta, I'm gonna recommend that you actually play this position here, because Zen is really good at playing this position, throwing 5 orbs this way and still being able to see from that direction. And you're going to hear footsteps from anyone coming from the back. Really good starting spot for Zen here. Okay. Anyway, a lot of talking, not a whole lot of playing. Let's see what goes on. All right, so they have a Doomfist. A lot of time spent in scope. A lot of that should have been unscoped. You're in open space. So when you're go back a second. This retreat, all right, your retreat pathing needs to get you to these little things here. These little things. These are great little pieces of cover so that you're not like dead out in the open. But watch where you are instead, right? Here's your Ana right there. See how you're just like in the middle of the road, not next to any sort of cover? Like, that's a problem, right? And so, easy pickings for the Doom. If the Doom had a little bit better focus on you, he could have potentially gotten a pick on you there. But he was also able to just see you super easily from this high ground because you're straight up on the low ground right there. In the middle of open space, excuse me. Okay. Okay, so now you're sort of playing back here like behind this thing, but you're not. You're kind of like way out here. Why not closer to this wall? That's what I would ask you, right? So like, if you were a higher level player, you will put your feet right here and just peek the corner. The lower SR you are, the more willing you are to like veer off this direction. And this is what I would call like, you are playing this position like macro positionally, but you're not playing the correct micro position within the macro position. You're just not putting your feet in this exact spot that you should be in. And then when this fight's over, if you win it, you should be thinking in your head every time a fight's over is Ana. You should be thinking about where is a better position? Where can I see the best vantage of my team and potentially be on high ground? And so, like, if you win this fight, I'd love to see you walk straight up these stairs. Like, as soon as the fight's in, like, the cleanup step, go up these stairs and then start playing from up here. Now you're even harder to get, even harder to kill from up here. You can break down this. You can get pretty good vantage. Like, Doomfist can no longer just peek out of here, see you over there, and just dunk on you, right? He would have to punch over to this side, and when he does that, you can absolutely see him do that. It's not a mystery, okay? Or he has to do a punch cancel, get up to here, uppercut, and then use his seismic slam, all 3 cooldowns just to touch you. And that whole way over here, you can sleep dart him, right? And so that's kind of what you're looking to do. When Doomfist comes in for a seismic slam, that's where he presses E. That's the one where he brings his fist and slams on the ground. That's a good one to go for the sleep dart. Try not to sleep dart him during his like uppercut kind of thing. Don't do the uppercut because it's a little bit of a weird motion, and until you get used to playing against Doomfist, that's going to be a tough sleep dart to hit. But if you can see where he's landing with his seismic slam, then you can kind of track where he's going to land and just throw a sleep dart where he's going to land, right? Just kind of like track where he's landing and throw the sleep dart where he's going to land. And it's a much easier hit. Also really easy to hit him when he's using his punch because it's just a very linear movement. Okay. Go back a second. What is this? Okay, so the Rhine did die there. That would have purpled him if he wasn't dead, so I like that. I like that you're going for purples. That is nice. Like, purpling the enemy team is kind of like the highest and best use of nade. playing against, or I would say that playing in silver against flankers, and when you're not receiving a whole lot of peel from your diva or from your co-support like Lucio, then going for purples is really greedy. I would say perhaps too greedy. Um, in this game, if the flankers are just on your ass the whole time and your team isn't like turning to help you kill these flankers, then you really need the nade for yourself. And while I want to go for purples because that's the highest and best use of nade, in a situation like this, I would probably argue that that's not the highest and best use of nade. It would be to use it to stay alive because you're compensating for not having peel on your team. Ooh, okay, so that was close. That's see a situation like that where it would be nice to have a nade on hand. Now you didn't die, so that's good, but that very well could have been a death. Go back a second. Nice shot, nice shot. The sleep dart on the ground is kind of weird, but you're just kind of getting used to Ana, I think. Okay, so now you have a nade and 33 HP, and so you definitely want to heal yourself. Like, if you look at the map, go back a second, right? Look at this. You see what's going on. This enemy team's got nothing right now. All right, we scroll out for a second here. Like, enemy team is a little bit in shambles. They're waiting on spawns. They're not doing anything. There is no reason for you to be 33 HP holding nade, ready to like throw it at someone. Like, take this opportunity to rotate the high ground. This is one of those situations where, as an Ana player, your top priority between fights is rotation, rotating back to a good position. Yeah, and this whole time you should have naded yourself. And if you naded yourself before, then you would have had nade again to nade yourself again and get yourself back to full. Or if you really want to, you can go and pick up this mega. There's also a mini over here. You just not taking. You can just take this mini. In fact, you could nade yourself and then pick up a mini. And you know that when you nade yourself and you get like the yellow health bar, you get 50% more healing effectiveness on everything. That includes health packs. So instead of 75, this 75 would be whatever 50% more than 75 is. So just keep that in mind. You can get over 100 HP from that thing, which would bring you to full. Yeah, and so this is going to bite you in the ass. You're 33 life. You're kind of sitting again. You're sitting in open space. You're not behind cover. You're not behind cover. You're not rotating to this high ground. You're not nading yourself. You're not ready for a dive. Yeah, you need to nade yourself there. Okay, go back a second. Just talk about this for a second. Oh, hold on. Okay. So, in a ring here, this thing does a lot of damage. This will kill you. All right. However, a lot of this ring, whoops, that's poorly drawn. From like here to here, it's a gradient of damage. And at the very end of the ring, it almost does nothing. In the beginning of the ring, it kind of does some damage. But if you're sitting around like right here, you can live. You can live. Especially if you have nade, you can live and still have more than 100 health after you nade yourself, and he'll be purpled. Another thing that I recommend when you're getting targeted by the seismic slams is, as Ana, I recommend walking in circles. All right, walking in circles. If you walk in a tight circle, not a super tight circle, like walk in this kind of circle fashion, okay? It's one, if you're constantly walking in a circle, he can try to predict where you're going to be in a moment, right? So he'll think like, okay, you're walking in a circle. If he thinks that you're going to continue in this trajectory like this, he might place it here, but you were going this way, and so you're automatically going to be outside of that ring. Or he'll try to predict your circular movement and put himself like right here, in which case you're going to see this ring come out and you can just skew the other direction. Right? It's a great technique to get him to misplace this, it makes it really hard for him to place this. And then your goal, when he's coming down, when he crashes down, I'm going to show you. Okay. I'll show you in slow motion when you want to like throw the sleep dart at him. Like this needs to be your first play. If you have sleep dart available, you do. Okay. So your first play as he comes down, I'll play it in slow motion. All right. He comes down, he crashes on the ground, and you see how he's like all like in super cool mode and he's like flashing red. In this moment, he is unCCable. If you throw a sleep dart at him, it actually just won't sleep him. All right. But in this state, he is sleep dartable. So right here, he is sleep dartable. This is where he crashes down. If you're far enough away, if you're like right here and you have full HP, you don't die. You throw your sleep dart at him and he sits there slept. Okay. And then you can nade yourself, run away, get the mega, hold position, right? Just keep that in mind. There's play around. You definitely want to sleep him as soon as he falls, and you want to get that sleep dart at the exact moment that he becomes vulnerable to crowd controls.
No escape.
All right.
The payload has reached the checkpoint.
Okay. So they reach the checkpoint. You got your Sigma out here. You can heal the Sigma from inside here. You do not have to walk out this direction. In fact, there's another door over here too. You don't have to leave the building. Okay, you can even play back here. You can kind of start to tell your team to rotate this way. Your end goal is to get up here. You want to be on top of this balcony. You want to defend this position. This right here is, I would say, the power position of this map, or of the streets phase here. Like if you control like this, then you're pretty much winning. Like this is a very, very important. Both teams want this position, and you should try to take it as quick as possible. All right. Yeah, you don't have to walk out this direction. So I would be concerned here because you're like walking throughout this whole like street area, and you got a little bit of cover from the edge of the bridge, but like these people, if anyone wanted to stand on cart here and just like shoot you in the face as you're walking along that direction, they could. If they would just walk out here and they could just shoot you. There's like no cover to be had. There's nothing. But you could have walked through the building. You could have stayed right here. You could have been behind your team. But you didn't. You stayed over here.
You're powered up. Get in there.
Almost got the sleep dart there. Yeah. So I would have played inside the building here. You kind of got caught being in this position. There's a possibility that you could have like not died in this fight. You could have like been able to fully retreat to your team, because there's a certain point when the fight's not winnable anymore. And as a support player, you need to realize that and try to save yourself and not die.
Get back in.
Okay. In this moment, you like, yes, great, heal up your brig and everything. Just tell your team you're rotating, and then go to here. Like play this position. Like I'll go back a second just to demonstrate. All right. And so here you don't want your brig to die, right? And so you're like, I'm healing your brig. I'm healing your brig. Okay. And as soon as he punches out, you know you've got some time. He's like, all right, team, I'm rotating. I'm rotating high ground. Just give me a second. And okay, I'm at high ground, team. I'm on high ground. And this is when you'd be up there. You could say I'm rotating to window. All right. We call this the window. I'm rotating to window. And then they know where you are. Yeah. So you're finding yourself in a little bit of open space. There's no natural cover to be found. That doom could have been on you.
Meteor strike.
If he's going for these, this like thing where he's meteor striking, and you're through your scope and you're shooting shots. So not only like, I'm gonna go back a second, just watch you do this. All right. Meteor strike, right? You hear the meteor strike thing, and then here you are through your scope, and watch this. You shoot through your scope, which creates this hit scan line. All right, see this line? This is the magical line that shows Doomfist exactly where the Ana is, and he knows you're looking through your scope, and that makes you a really easy target. never scope in during a meteor strike. Never, ever, ever scope in during a meteor strike. This is really, really, really not what you want to do. So he doesn't target you for some reason. He could have. He really, really should have targeted you. All right. And now that your team, just looking in this position, right? Take a look. You have, your Briggs in there for some reason. Your tanks are on point, and so just based on context clues, all right, the enemy team is probably like out here, kind of in this position, like around this corner. So what you want to do, remember what I said was a really good position? Up here, right? Look at this. I would be using in this position, in this situation, I would use the context clues to realize, like, look where your tanks are shooting, look where their shields are, where they're defending. You can kind of tell where the enemy team is. It's probably safe to go up to that high ground. And you want to be on high ground. It's always harder for flankers to get to you if you're on the high ground. They have to spend resources to get there. They don't just get to walk there for free. Okay. Yeah, I would really like to see you rotating up to high ground. See where that soldier is. Another context clue. Is there anyone waiting for you up there to kill you? No, right? How do you know that? Context clues. Context clues. Did he turn the corner and immediately helix rocket? No. He just walked right into the building. You hear him shooting? No. You know what that means? Context clues. There's no one contesting high ground. There's not a single enemy in here. There's no one. This is all yours. This is all your space. Context clues, right? This is game sense. This is knowing, like, oh, well, my soldier went up there completely uncontested. That means no one's there, probably. So let's go up there. You're just in open space. You're on the low ground in open space. Now you're kind of using some cover back here, I guess, but we're kind of going to cart. You're trying to be in a position that can keep your tanks alive. You should encourage your tanks to walk up here. All right, encourage your tanks to come up here and play this high ground. So now you see the Doomfist up here, but you would have seen that coming, right? So if you're up here, you can call to your team like Doomfist left on high ground. All right, now your Brig's going to be up here. Maybe she'll be able to deal with the Doom. Nice nade. Interesting. Did you see that wall? Oh my god. You just lift it up. That's so awesome. What a way to block Shatter. Just lift him up into the air, forehead. Okay, yeah, this is death. Maybe. Maybe. Oh, good try. He certainly took some damage there. If he wasn't nano, I don't think he would have killed him. Alright.
It'll take more than that to keep me out of the fight.
Okay, so now we have this idea of going onto the high ground. But we don't want to drop off, right? No dropping off. We are supporting our Sigma here. We're being really careful. So the Doom wants to get on your ass here. I would be playing this corner. I'd be waiting for the dive from the Doom. You're going to sleep dart the Doom. You do not use sleep dart on anything else. You keep the Sigma up. Tell the Sigma to come back. Definitely with the Reinhardt up here, your Sigma can't just stay up here. So now we do have to give up high ground. Also, note this. What the fuck? Excuse me? Oh. What the fuck? No shot. No shot. They're on is just flanking now. That's insane. Okay, that's just weird. That, I'll tell you what, that will almost never happen. I've never seen an Ana get lifted over that wall to flank you. Now, that is not uncommon for other heroes, right? So this little movement over this wall here to the alley is a common move. It's a common way to get across here and do like a C9 from behind, but you don't see Ana's doing that. That Ana can't get over there without like a wall or something.
not ready to hang it up.
All right, and so now that we're kind of trying to defend this sort of like point B, you're going to want to stand up here on this little window high ground. And so that's kind of where you're trying to rotate to at the moment. I'm going to walk in circles. Okay, fine. Almost. You almost had that sleep guard on him. I think it was a bit early. That or he got bubbled or something. Didn't quite see. It's fine. Damn, they got the point. Okay. It's fine. You can still win the fight. And then if you're going to actually play this position, you want to rotate up at that window again. You're thinking now, this is like every time the fight's in cleanup, personally as an Ana player, I'm always thinking about rotating. Rotate to high ground. Get a better position. Always get a better position. Always, 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 always.
You're going to be okay.
Now you're now okay. This is where it gets a little bit of a tricky. You don't want to be doing this too much. Excuse me, I'm coughing. All right, I'm good. Okay, they're spawning here now, so you don't want to play right at their spawn. Okay, your team. If you notice your team is playing like right at the spawn door, well, the thing is about this is that they would love this. Let's say they group up. They get like 6 people and they walk out here and take a fight with you. And let's say they start dwindling in numbers. Well, the person you kill first, even if you're like winning the fight, will just walk right back into the fight pretty soon. And eventually you're going to lose resources, lose this position, and you're probably going to get staggered. If they play it well, they can just like kill one, wait a couple seconds, kill another, wait another second, kill another. Right? And they can just keep doing this. And you're going to come out of spawn and rejoin the fight, probably, as 4 people instead of 6. Or as 3 people instead of 6. Or as 5 people instead of 6. And if you do this, especially in silver, I promise you, they can keep staggering you all the way until the end room. When they'll at this point, their ability to do that kind of dwindles and you're usually able to get back to 6. But like this, I'd be really scared of just getting steamrolled. Having like they're just gonna get a lot of momentum. You want to set up the fight from a good position. Like in this scenario where you've got this kill in the Genji, great. It's time to retreat, right? And so bring your team back, set them up in a good spot, like prepare to play a fight in this choke, and just be in good positions. Like you can set up a double shield stack right here, right? Put your shields right here. Cover this flank over here. Watch the high grounds from up here. You can put a DPS up here, maybe a pocket the DPS up here, and so the DPS can like bad arrow can block this lane, and then just keep like one person also needs to just keep an eye on this door. And if you've got all those bases covered, then pretty much you're good. They have to like win a duel over there. They have to switch to a flyer and come over the building to try to dismantle what you're doing. Like you would rather play a good position and kind of like dictate where the fight happens in that sense in a way that benefits you than it would be to play so far up. Okay, so this is where it's like now you're using ults to protect a position that is not really super defendable. If you can hear my roommate's music in the background, I'm sorry.
I'll rest when the fighting is done.
Meteor strike.
All right. I'm back to the fight here. Keeping our tanks up. What I'm thinking about here, because now it's a little bit harder to find a good high ground position. There's not like a clear high ground window cover. Now there's no high ground, right? And so when you're trying to select a position, what you want to do is select a position that kind of surveys the space you have and covers angles. Okay. In this situation, what I'd like to see is probably an angle like behind this, where you're kind of playing by the door. You can kind of come back behind here. You get to see people coming from like this sort of flank. The only one that you're really not able to see super well is the right behind you, but you would see them coming, right? If you see people going in this direction from your vision over here, right? They can't really get into that position without like kind of walking past you, except in like rare circumstances. People don't usually do this, right? But like a flanker could go sneak in here, right? Well, hold on, let's start here. They come through this door, in here, all the way down here, through this hallway, up here. You see how this is really weird? Up here, and then into you. Like, that's really the route that they'd have to take to not be seen by you and get you from behind. Not impossible, but people in silver, I'm telling you, silver players, they do not know that flank. 100% they do not know that flank. Also, it's like fucking a journey through to Mordor and back. Like, it's such a long ass flank. Oh, they're bubbling the doom now. It's rough. We're on the front foot, so we can all push forward. That's fine. I'm gonna get rid of this Genji. Oh, almost. Gotta work on some sleep aim. It's just a mechanical thing. It's a good check, but don't walk down the stairs. Good check, though. Oh, yeah, dude. With the bubble and all, there's nothing you can do about that. It's not going for you with those meteor strikes as much. That's surprising. Yeah, you're really getting caught in the open here. It's kind of just like, it's hard for you to pay attention to how open your position is, like right in the middle of the game space. Like, look at this. If you had to choose like A, B, or C, like this is the most open position you could be in. Like, just you're in the middle of the open, and you're not really behind or near any sort of cover of any kind. You're just walking straight down main in the very, very middle of main. This tells me that like it's not that you're consciously choosing this position because you think it's a good position. I understand that there is just too many other things you're thinking about in the game to consider where you're standing and what cover you're near. But I would probably put other mechanics on the back burner for a little while and just practice this for a bit, because this is going to be so important. Just having a good angle, being a little more difficult to get to, hard to poke, able to take a little bit of cover if you need. Yikes. Alright.
Round 1. Complete. 0 to 3. Switching sides.
Hate when the mouse glitch happens. Like, I literally just can't see my mouse.
Initiate
There it is.
match. Ready for
Alright.
battle.
So we're on Zenyatta now. So Zenyatta is this hero where what you want to do is you want to know the angles of the map really well. Okay, really long, like angles you would never even thought of, right? So like as they're coming out of the front here, okay, you see this angle right here, this interesting weird angle. I'm gonna move my camera forward, right? I'm not turning my camera. I'm just moving it straight forward. You can fire a shot like through the crack of this door, and potentially like hit a torp, right? This really long shot from like the spawn area. See this angle? Like, that's a really long angle. See what we got over here. You can see these really, really deep angles. So what you do is, like, as you're coming out this door, perhaps, you could charge a 5 orb, the door opens, and you release the 5 orb on the angle. that you expect they might be in. And then you could come around this way, charge a 5 orb, starting like here, and then release it right here, right? And so you're playing these angles where you know they're going to be, where you know they're probably going to be, I should say. And like as you approach the angle, you're charging a 5 orb, and then you take a look for just a moment, place your crosshairs really quickly, and release the 5 orb. What you don't do though, and don't do this incorrectly, right? You don't peek, start charging a 5 orb, and then like a second or two later throw the 5 orb, right? Because they see you doing it. You want to like charge the 5 orb, and then like when it's almost about to fire off, peek, look for the target, and then shoot it. And then like you want to think about it in rotations. You want to think about like where's your grand destination and just start taking phases towards it, right? And so like let's say the grand destination, the place where you just want to end up, excuse me again, I'm sorry, is you want to be up here on this high ground, shoving them into their own choke. Like maybe that's where you want to be. And if that's where you want to be, just take it in phases, right? So you charge your 5 orb, throw it down here, come around this way, charge a 5 orb, place it here, cross the bridge, charge a 5 orb, place it here, all right? And just keep like round cover, 3, 2, 1, shard, throw a 5 orb, maybe throw some single without doing any volleys, do your reload or whatever. Shoot, 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 come over here. And then you can make your rotation up, right? You take those kind of like longer journeys around the map, like find these like deeper angles, like throw those 5 orbs, and eventually you'll land on these high grounds, right? And then if they're still sticking around here, then that's probably really dangerous. You probably don't want to cut around this way if the enemy team just like still owns all of this position. In that scenario, you wouldn't even like escape this room. You're just waiting for your team, and if your team starts to get pushed back, you just retreat, right? And so only take up new space when you know it makes sense, when you're not really like entering deep into enemy territory, because you don't want to be like that. You just want to be at like sort of the edges of your own territory. Let's see what you do though.
3, 2, 1. Attackers incoming.
Okay, so we're charging a 5.
Escort
I like that. So right off the bat, you're charging a 5 orb and you're throwing it at an angle where you expect them to be. Great. You want to do a lot of that. Okay. Great. Standing in an open space here, but you're behind the cart, so I'll forgive it. Okay. I will say, I'm going to go back a second here. I will say a lot of not shooting. I want you to watch every moment that you're just kind of looking around and not shooting for some reason. Just think about it. See that? Little moment of not shooting. If you ever don't know where to shoot, why not charge a 5 orb? That's what I would say. Why not charge a volley if you have nothing else to shoot and you're not shooting? Why not? Because you can always press melee to cancel the bullets and not give away your position. All this not shooting, all of that could have been a 5 orb. Yeah, so we're running this guy down. That's cool and all. You're in here. That was a little bit dangerous. I think that while running him down like that is kind of cool, this whole time when you're kind of like in open space, I would have, in my mind, I would be gravitating towards these and kind of getting into here and like playing this way, playing here, shooting, make sure this shield dies so you can get through it. Right? And just playing in sort of the outskirts of your team's position rather than like front line. You see how you're sort of in like the front line right now? You're standing now directly in like the enemy team's spam lane of damage. Like this is the lane that they're putting all their bullets through, so you don't necessarily want to stand in this lane if you don't have cover. And right now you're like, oh, you're kind of like inside the Zarya, but like, yeah, you get what I mean. You lost your Genji. Wow, okay, so By walking in front of your Zarya, she accidentally bubbled you instead of your Rhine. Your Rhine died. Just too far up. Too far up, not at an angle. Yeah, that wasn't a bubble to like give her energy. That was a bubble to get you out safely. So watch this bubble. This bubble is like run away, and watch what you do. No, you want to get further back. There's people in the back there. This little thing here, you could be shooting. Those are the squishies.
Why's the payload stop?
We walk in the shadows, my friend.
Okay. So the trans was because the doom came at you, and so you're getting a little bit of a doom trauma. You don't necessarily just like insta die to doom. Like, we'll go back a second here, right? Let's showcase this. Look at when he's getting to you and when you pop trans. So like as soon as he lands, you're popping trans here. Now if they see it coming, then your Ana should be able to throw a nade at you. Hold on a second.
Watching your back.
Damn. Okay. Well, she wasn't really paying attention. I suppose you kind of had to do it. I'd like to see him like a little bit past that animation to give myself a chance to get support. Maybe get a bubble or something. Okay. I want to showcase something as well. This is interesting. Watch. I want you to like pay attention to your play the moment you get out of trance. I want you to see and try to see how you look a little bit disoriented when you get out of trance for a second, right? You see how when you landed out of trance, go back one more time in slow motion. All right. Look at the disoriented. Look at where your crosshair landed, and then you're like, where am I? Where am I? Where am I? There's the enemies. Okay. Be a little bit more prepared when you're coming out of trance. There's sort of like two phases to the transcendence. In the first phase is where you're just like, you're trying to offer your 300 healing per second to your teammates that need it in that moment. But the last like second and a half of trans really needs to land you in a good position. It needs to land you in a safe position, and you need to be like firing bullets right out of trance. Right as trance is over, you need to already have your crosshair placed, already be back in a good position. You already need to like use the last second of trance to like retreat behind cover again and be ready to take your next shot. And it seems to me like you spent your entire transcendence like just with your team, and you didn't really try to land your trans at the end in a safe spot, ready to fire. You're looking at a wall and didn't really place your crosshairs at the end of it. You look disoriented, and it takes you a moment to like actually start playing Overwatch again. Yep, get rid of that turret. Oh my god, get rid of that turret. Holy shit, okay. Okay. So you could push cart here, but with all these people on cart, I wouldn't. Shit. I come out here, go up the stairs, be fucking ready. Take this duel. Like, we're just like, be up here, make it difficult for people. And as soon as the fight breaks down over here, then you're on the high ground, killing any supports that are just on the bridge for some reason. Like, why be on cart? In silver, I would... Okay, in this case, they told you to stand on cart. You're the only one on cart, so now you have to stay on cart. So you mentioned that you're 6 stacking right now. You're playing with a team of people. I recommend when you're deciding who pushes cart, like if you're going to do one on cart 5 forward, put someone with mobility on the cart so that when the fight breaks out, if you have to leave the cart to take a 6v6, then the person with mobility can get to the other 5 people faster. It's kind of like the idea. Go back a second. I was curious. I was not paying too much attention there a second. Hold on. Okay, so even though you're AFK, like even though you're like pushing cart, you don't necessarily have to be totally AFK. Here, you can still charge a 5 orb, wait for angles to enter your vision, and then fire off the angle, right? So like I know, for example, a lot of times someone is standing near these stairs, like in this case, the Mercy is sometimes they're standing up into the stairs a little bit. And so you're about to round that corner. You could have a 5 orb ready on that staircase, like as you turn this corner. But in this moment, notice how you're not doing anything. You're not thinking about anything. You're just pushing a cart, right? And so the thought of maybe charging a 5 orb never even entered your mind. So definitely a lot of missed damage opportunity there. Just not even thinking about charging a 5 orb on that angle. You can push this cart from better cover. I know that you're probably fine, but just as a good practice, just note that like standing in this door around cover is in as you get the cart, like here, for example, if I'm standing where my camera is right now, I'm still pushing cart. I can push cart close to cover. I don't have to be directly on the cart. Again, I know you're fine. You wouldn't have died. It's fine. I'm just saying for like good practices and building good habits. Okay, we're still just kind of pushing payload. The team is sort of entering inside of the mansion. You actually want to get your team on top of the mansion on the upper floor. That's the play. Whoever controls the upper floor there kind of just controls the fight. That's like the name of the game. Okay. Again, not really charging a 5 orb as you're about to around that corner there. I'm going to be thinking about 5 orbs and angles all the time. Interesting. Why would she nano you? Fucking lasered him down. That was awesome. Okay. Very courageous. Frontlining's in here a little bit there. I mean, you were on the front foot as far as like the ebb and flow of the fight goes, so it's fine. Just don't make a habit of frontlining on as Zen.
The payload has reached the checkpoint.
Meteor strike.
That one you probably could have gotten away without having to use the trans on. He fucked his jump up so bad. Damn. You look for angles, look for 5 orbs. It's just kind of sitting in the cart, not shooting. All this could be a 5 orb. Yeah, I like the back pedal. You don't have to stand any further than you have to. Any further forward as you have to, I should say. Even in this moment, like I'd probably be telling your team to just play a little chill for a second. I know your Zarya's getting kills here, but aren't you like steeply down in numbers? I guess you're not. But it's just like it's you, or sorry, it's just really Ana and your Zarya. Zarya throws a grab without her team around, so the grab is completely wasted. They still have Junk Doom, and they have people coming back, so the Zarya might get staggered here. Yeah. Zarya's sort of popping off. Dies. Now they have Monkey back. Still holding cart. Yeah, it's just a lot of, like, pretty bad staggering on your team. I'm only mentioning this because you're in a 6 stack. You can tell your team to regroup. How do you not die? You're 1 HP. Crazy. Immediately go for the trans. What the fuck? So she tried to nano somebody else. Yikes. Yeah. In this moment, when the enemy team is trying to gather their forces and come back together, you don't have to stand so far up. Like, come back here, right? Sort of like protect the space you have. Think about protecting the space that you already have. You don't have to like hard press W. Your Ryan can, but you don't have to. Like, all of this is probably better if you're just kind of like sitting. Was that your Ana? Or, you know, okay. Just like standing back here. I'd be standing back here. Fire anyone who gets onto the point. You see everyone. They have to spend a lot of resources to get to you. Like, you're just playing a little too close to point, in my opinion. A little too close for comfort. And when you're on point, sitting here, and like you're shooting this way, you cannot see who's this way. But if you're way back here and shooting somebody, you can actually see both at the same time, right? It's just a better survey of the battlefield. It's a better survey of your own space. And so just playing a little bit further back can be really good. Charging 5 orbs, throwing them at the door when people are about to come through. Great stuff. Okay. Next round.
Ready for battle.
All right, on defense, Zen, like I said, I like this angle right here. You can get nice angles here. You get to see all the way down spawn. Okay. And you get to just see main. You have great retreating. You get to see this angle over here. See how you play. Okay, you can make this shot from a lot further back. All right, always try to play as far back as possible. Like, this is a great shot from here. Like, this is fine, okay? I wouldn't say great. I would say it's fine, right? But the further forward you're standing, like if you're starting it here, like, try to understand there's no benefit. There's none. In fact, this is hard feeding. You do not want to be here, because if they turn the corner and they had like just a hit scan like Ashe or Widow or something like that, almost any DPS can just identify you in front of your whole team and just kill you. So definitely just stay further back. You have no fall off on your projectiles, by the way. It doesn't matter how long the projectile travels, it'll always do the same amount of damage. It's not like hit scan. So there's no benefit in standing closer. All right, so you saw the flank. Nice. Good job there. Good kill. Once you've established that you've rotated back to garden, again, play behind these things. Like, just play behind these things. Don't catch yourself sitting out here in open space, because that's not great. This thing is fine to stand behind, because you can still see behind this. Again, I'm repeating myself here. But yeah. Again, open space. You're not really behind these garden things. You know that at some point, Doomfist wants to stand up here. This is the end game, right? He wants to stand up here, find a support, and dunk on him. And you're kind of just like an easy target for that if he was going to go for something like that. Yeah, so it didn't have to be on the high ground to do that. All right.
Pain is an excellent teacher.
Seconds.
It's fine to, I mean, honest playing there. That's fine. You can be back here if you want. I'd be a little bit afraid of Doomfist coming up here and just seeing you immediately. Like in the wide open bridge, if you were playing a little too far back. Playing here, I think honestly it's fine. You could play around this corner. You could play around this corner. I would always be wanting to play a corner if possible. Another nasty one is you could play in here. You could play this angle. This is nasty. They don't see this one coming. You could throw 5 orbs this way and you get huge view, and you're right on top of a mega. You're almost undiveable. You get to protect your Ana. You get to see this angle. This is really strong. There's the Doom. Nice kill on the Doom. Good job. This is great. They're not paying attention to you. I mean, you're just like raining hell upon them. You get a good transcendence here. This is going to clean up the fight. That means this is over. But an extinguisher is not required. Hell yeah.
Round 3.
Okay.
Ready for battle.
Okay, so now you're on Brig, and in your post you said I don't have to talk about the Brig. You want this to be ignored. That's totally fine. We'll call it there. If you have any follow-up questions, feel free to make a comment, and have a wonderful day.